guys, but they still serve chicken, and they're preparing it here tonight the way the Colonel showed them back in 1954. The Kalin's son-in-law, Herb Rocky, was in the kitchen that day in '54 when Colonel Sanders, or Pappy as he was known to his friends, demonstrated his chicken frying.
He came to us and to Mr. Kalin, who was a personal friend of his, and asked if he would take his chicken and help and so forth and so on. Mr. Kalin agreed to this, and this is really how we got into it. It was a gentleman's agreement, strictly a handshake back in those days.
Rocky also remembers traveling with the Colonel when he was on the road selling franchises.
We were going up through Indiana one day, and I didn't realize he was so adamant about this smoking bit. So he drove himself back in those days, and he had one of the first Cadillacs with all the automatic windows and all this stuff, and I light a cigarette. I'm sitting next to him. It's in February. It's probably about 15 degrees outside, snow falling, the whole bit. Man, first thing you know, every window in that Cadillac came down, and I didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden, he had that damn cigarette, you know? So I said, all right, I'll put it out. I never smoked another cigarette in that car with him again.
Red hair, red face, and a red temper. That's how Margaret Kalin remembers Harlan Sanders when she and her husband Bernie first met the Colonel back in 1938.
Oh, when I first met him, he was an awful nice person, but he did have a temper.
Did he really?
Oh. You'll never know how much temper he had. Now, I don't want to say too much about the Colonel. He was a nice man, and he certainly was nice to us. And Mr. Kalin just thought he was the greatest person there was. He came to our golden wedding, and when Mr. Kalin went down the church aisle, he saw him and started crying.
The Kalins say Harlan Sanders was a tough businessman who wasn't afraid to scold his partners if they made a mistake. But mostly, the Kalins remember the Colonel as a man who never forgot who his friends were. Mark Pfeiffer with the live action cam outside Kalin's restaurant.